Hello. Today is Monday, October 15th. We are exactly probably halfway through the semester. Due this week your outline for your, I'm sorry, I have allergies. For your compare, contrast, or process essay. That's if your topic has been approved. If your topic proposal has not been approved, then you make sure you get those revisions in now. I will be looking at those. If you turned it in before yesterday, then I've already looked at it. You've already either been asked to revise it or it's been approved. If you did not, I will be looking at those here today and responding, and then I will reopen the assignment, and you will have until Friday, which is the 19th. Yes, the 19th. You'll have until Friday to get those revised, but do not wait. Do not wait to get those revised. As soon as you have my response, go ahead and do your revisions and get them back in, because usually it's something like you need to be more specific about something, so it's usually a pretty quick and easy fix. Some of you are still not submitting work according to the formatting guidelines and the course policies. I'm not sure why at this point in the semester we should not be having this conversation, but you do need to double space. I need a name and a date at the very least at the top of your paper. That's all I ask. As far as when you're turning in your reader responses or your topic proposals or stuff like that, I need a name and a date, and it needs to be double spaced. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as far as formatting, remember that for this essay you need to cite sources. I would recommend that you start doing that in your first draft, and practicing your in-text citations and your works cited or references page. That way you have time to correct any formatting issues there, because that's really the big thing with the citations. The big thing is going to be to make sure that they're formatted properly. So the sooner you compile your references or works cited, the better. Turn it in with your first draft. That way you have another set of eyes on it. And you need to just keep in mind that you have to cite sources this time. Okay. If you have any questions about what kinds of sources you should cite, I'd be really happy to talk to you about that. Overall, you want to try to avoid, and there's really good information about this in your St. Martin's and in your Bedford. You really want to avoid anything I would recommend avoiding anything that's from a news site. I would avoid Fox News, CNN, anything that's, from a news site. What you can do if you find something on a site like that you want to use is look at the sources that they use to write the article, and then go check those out. That's a real quick and easy way to find more reliable sources versus an article written by someone who's formed an opinion about the data or information that was presented somewhere else. And that's really going to be the key as far as source citing this early in your academic careers, is making sure that you find reliable sources and that you don't just take an article from BuzzFeed or wherever New York Times, wherever it happens to be, and just take that author's perspective at face value. Make sure that you check the references that that person used to write their article or their essay. And the same goes for Wikipedia. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm going to because it's important. You can use Wikipedia to look at sources, but you can't cite an article, directly from Wikipedia. Look at the sources that were cited from Wikipedia. So I'm going to go into Wikipedia and I'll show you a little bit what I'm looking at. So I am going to look at, trying to think about what some of you are writing about. Bike safety. So I'm going to look at bike safety. Okay, so you can see, sorry, I don't want you to have to look at it backwards, so I'm going to show it to you this way, but I think it's still backwards. Most of you are familiar with Wikipedia, and the thing about this is that anyone can edit this. So you could go in and, you could just click on edit and edit this. And that's basically the definition of a wiki. But if you go down here, you see this references list. So here you have Motor Vehicle Crash Death, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This is an excellent source for information, because the CDC, is obviously a reliable source of statistical data. So that's what I'm talking about when I tell you, like, don't use this information that's here in the Wikipedia, because it's somebody else's interpretation of the data, and what you want is your own interpretation of the data. So the key there is finding the data, and you don't want to recreate the wheel here. So, you can go to these articles and see what sources they use. And the same thing, if there's no sources cited in the article that you're looking at, move on. That you do not need to use that article. If you're going direct to the CDC website, or, something like that, like, the FDA website, anything that where the data originated from, that's fine. But like I said, if you're looking at, interpretations of information, make sure that you review the source that information came from. And this is a good skill just to have in life. You don't, we have a lot of talking heads at us all the time. And we have the internet at our fingertips, and we are perfectly capable of going and looking up wherever these talking heads got their information from. We do not have to trust somebody else's opinion or interpretation of whatever data they're trying to represent. So keep that in mind as you're doing this. This is going to serve you not just in this class, not just in your future classes, but learning how to research and understand data is going to serve you in your life, period. And so let's practice that with this assignment. I know some of you have done this before, but that's, let's practice that. Let's practice using, good, reliable sources. And I'll tell you, like, if I see something right off the bat that's not going to fly, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why that particular source isn't going to work. Okay, and so we have time to work on this, and that's the good part about doing the different drafts, is that we have the opportunity to get better. And so I really want all of you to participate in the drafting process this time. I had a few of you that just totally opted out, and it was really disappointing, because this is probably one of the few times in your college career that you're going to have guided writing process help every step of the way. And so, in the future, you're probably just going to be asked to turn in the paper, and you will have to do this on your own. You will have to draft, you will have to revise, you will have to, if you want to turn in your best possible work. So take advantage of this. Take advantage of the opportunity. A lot of instructors won't give you one-on-one feedback on your assignment unless you specifically ask for it. So that's something to consider as well. Take this opportunity to, really improve your process, so that later on when you're taking other courses, you have this, to fall back on. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is it's really important to have a writing reference. I know, we all have sometimes websites that we like to use better than others, but this is a little book. It's called the Little Red Writing Book, and it's small. I mean, this is, not a big book at all, and it was cheap. It was $6.40. I was able to get it used, and I think you can even get it even cheaper than that on Amazon. But I bought it at a little bookstore in Santa Cruz, and it was $6.40. The regular price is $9.99, so it's not expensive at all. But this is great. Like, if you're the type of person that needs like a book, a paper reference in front of you to look at, and you're not super fond of your Bedford, or you don't want to keep it, or you rented it, or you just don't like it and you want to give it back to the bookstore when you're done with this course, then I would recommend something like this. I like this one a lot, but overall, your St. Martin's is going to be just a huge, huge resource and asset for you as you're going through your writing projects, not just for this class, but also in future classes. Okay? Oh, I feel like I covered a lot. Okay, so this week we have the outline after your topic proposal has been approved. Then you have, of course, your reader response and your discussion. I make sure that you are using and doing the correct readings. I know at least one of you was using the brief Bedford, which is not going to serve you at all. And I remember showing you guys the Bedford that we're using for this course. This is the 13th edition. So this is what you should be using for this course. The difference between this one and the brief is that this one is obviously longer. It has more readings, and sometimes they don't line up. So when when the pages are supposed to go over, like last week was the mixing of the methods, it might not necessarily be that section in the brief Bedford if you have the brief Bedford. So just make sure that you're doing the correct readings. And that way you don't have any issues with your reader responses. And make sure that you are doing all of the assigned readings, not just the ones out of the St. Martin's. Make sure you're doing the ones out of the Bedford as well. And I know, the Bedford can be a little dry, but some of these essays are just, they're really cool if you give them a chance. And they're really short. And so it's not, there's not a whole lot of extended reading of one thing here. So I encourage you all, and I also just look through the book. There's a lot of stuff in here that we're not going to have time to read this semester, that you might find helpful later on. Okay? Please email me if you have any questions. Email me via Canvas if you, if it's something that's gonna, that can wait like a day. Usually I try to answer quicker than that, but sometimes it takes a day or two. If it's something, that you need an answer to right away, email me at the WNMU email address or the Gmail email address, and I get those emails on my phone. Okay? So we've gotten over the hump. We are in week 9, which means we were on that tail end of the semester. So let's keep up the momentum. Let's finish it off strong. This is our last writing project where we're going to go through step by step. The next writing project is going to be the persuasive essay, and you're going to do that almost completely on your own. And so get as much practice, as much information, as much, one-on-one as you can this time. Okay? All right. I am going to, midterm grades. Midterm grades, I have to turn them in today. Actually, I have to turn them in by tomorrow at 9, I think, but I'm going to do it today. So those should be up in your Mustang Express pretty soon. I mean, you should know how you're doing in the class at this point because you have access to your grades via Canvas. So those midterm grades will be out there. Maybe that'll be helpful for your other classes that don't use Canvas. But be sure to check those out through your Mustang Express.